So Amit Prabhu also couldn't make it. So he's Murari Nitai Prabhu's friend. So he said he's going to come, but okay, he's joining one. So thank you for joining on the Zoom as well. And thank you everyone for coming here in person. Hare Krishna. Happy to see some of the faces coming back after vacation and other things. So does anybody remember? I know we had a gap. We were in GEV, Govardhan Eco Village, Mini Vrindavan, for the last week. So week before that, does anybody remember what did we discuss? Or what did you discuss? Huh? Sorry, go ahead. Okay. Ah. Hmm. Hmm. Right. Hmm. Have the same destiny as your brothers. Hmm. Hmm. How to get help. Right. Right. When you saw the Vriddha, the elderly person who has the wisdom. Nice. Good. Thank you so much. It was very encouraging. You have remembered practically everything. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so, but does anybody remember why they were so thirsty and what was the reason they were trying to search something, if anybody remembered? Because that has to happen, and that was the one of the interesting part of the story. Okay. So as Prabhuji rightly said, these Pandavas were in the forests. Agyatwas has not yet started. They were still in the Vana Parva. And they met with one Brahmana, and Brahmana said, my Arni wood means some wood that he used for the yagya, that was taken by a deer. So they were trying to search for that deer, and in that search, they went so much far in the forest, and they did not realize, and they all became very thirsty. And that is why they went to drink water one by one, right? And they became unconscious or practically dead, right? And now Yudhishthir Maharaj also went there, and the question answer is happening between Yaksha and Yudhishthir Maharaj. So there are about so now what is so interesting about this particular episode? इसमें इतना खास क्या है ये यक्ष प्रश्न में? So you have to understand the situation of Yudhishthir Maharaj. कौन सी स्थिति में ये क्वेश्चन आंसर हो रहा है? युधिष्ठिर महाराज was also equally thirsty. अभी थोड़े दिनों बाद पांडव निर्जल एकादशी आने वाला है, तो जो कोई करेगा उसको समझ में आएगा कि what that thirst means. In that thirsty situation, somebody is saying that you have to answer my question. First of all, he said, what ridiculous thing is this? Right? एक मजाक क्या चल रहा है? लेकिन what is this? पहले मेरे को पानी पीने दो ना, बाद में मैं आंसर करता हूँ ना, प्रॉब्लम क्या है? बोलते नहीं, अगर आपने पानी पी लिया तो आपकी सेम गति होगी जो आपके भाइयों की हुई है. So now imagine he's not just thirsty, means he's physically fatigued and at the same time emotionally absolutely disturbed because he sees all his brothers dead practically. Right? अभी ये सिचुएशन में कोई आपको बोलेगा कि मैं आपको रैपिड फायर क्वेश्चन पूछने वाला हूं. Will you be able to forget about it? Will you be able to even answer anything? It will be so difficult. And in this situation, and that is what our scriptures tell us, that how by studying scriptures, how you can develop such a character. What is his character? That even though you are physically very disturbed, emotionally very disturbed, in that situation also you will be able to think so clearly and you will be able to answer it. That is what our Shastras has to offer. So ये चीज बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. हमारे लाइफ में थोड़ी सी मुसीबत आ जाती है, आदमी बौखला जाता है. फाइनेंशियल सिचुएशंस इधर उधर हो गया, आदमी पूरा बौखला जाता है. हैव यू हर्ड राइट? इमोशनली प्रॉब्लम हो गया तो डिप्रेस हो गया, फाइनेंशियली प्रॉब्लम हो गया तो डिप्रेस हो गया, हाँ, और कुछ हो गया तो डिप्रेस हो गया. So that keep on happening. Now here, this person has all right to become depressed. But rather than becoming depressed, he is answering and he is actually removing someone else's distress in one sense. You know, the main reason that Yaksha, who is none other than Yamaraj, became more interested in asking more questions because he saw that this person has so much to offer. Dharmaraj Yudhishthir has so much of wisdom, so that Yamaraj became inspired to ask more questions. So total 120 questions were being asked. 120 questions. And it was a rapid fire question. ऐसा नहीं है कि उसको explain करना है. ऐसे ऐसे टाइप questions नहीं था. And multiple choice भी नहीं था. You have to answer immediately what is this. So one word answer is coming. One word. Okay. So we'll go further. We'll not be able to do all the 120 questions. I've selected few questions that we'll discuss today, and we'll move back to our Bhagavad Gita discussions from next week onwards. Okay. So today's first question that is being asked by Yamaraj Yaksha: what is heavier than Bhumi? What is taller than sky? What is faster than wind? And what is more in numerous than grass? So we'll ask you one by one. Okay. And then I will disclose what Yudhishthir Maharaj said. So what is heavier than Bhumi? Any idea? Who said? Why? Okay. So just keeping the child in the womb is that makes her heavier than the mother earth. Okay, what is the definition of heavy? Something which can tolerate the most heaviest thing, right? That is the heavier than that, right? So mother is the one who tolerates the child like anything, right? And also there is a spiritual significance is also given to this in Mahabharata. Is mother also refers to Mother Lakshmi, okay, who is also heavier than Mother Earth. Now, who is taller than sky? Taller than sky, Father. Prabhuji has become Yudhishthir Maharaj today. So, absolute correct. Father. My father is taller than the sky. Right. So his responsibility, and at the same times he guides the child, the dependents, and the child sees the father as everything, a taller than the sky, because for the child, father is the one who is going to care, who is going to guide, and who is going to do everything for the child. Now this is the most easier one. Who is faster than wind? Mind. Okay, so we all know the mind is faster than wind. The third one. What is more in number than the grass? More numerous than grass that we see. घास हम लोग देखते हैं ना, कितना सारा है. अभी घास का तिनका आप गिनने जाओगे तो कितने सारे हैं, राइट? तो उससे भी ज्यादा कौन सा चीज है? सैंड. ओके. But thoughts, exactly. The thoughts are much more than even sand and the grass. Now, a very wonderful spiritual significance given in Mahabharata, that Another meaning of the father is, who is your eternal father? Lord Krishna, Narayan, right? So if you worship Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani, who is none other than Lakshmi, right? Then what will happen? You will be able to control your mind, and by controlling the mind, you will be able to watch over your thoughts. So that's another spiritual significance given in this. Okay. Next set of question: which living being does not close its eyes even while sleeping? As I said, like it's going to be fun time today, right? Have you heard the puzzles and all those things we asked, right? दो भाई जो है वो दिन में पूरे 24 आवर्स में दो बार साथ में आते हैं, something like we used to ask that, right? The hands of the clock, right? So at the 6 o'clock, 6:30 or 12 whatever, right? So now here, which living being does not close its eyes even while sleeping? Living entity, tears कैसे हो गया? Anybody can speak on the, unmute yourself and speak up in the on Zoom as well, please. Socho? Okay, I'll give you the hint. It's not the mammal, it's not the human being cause, it's neither a bird. Yes, fish does not close its eyes while sleeping. खुली आंख रख के fish होती है. Now this Maran knew this while answering this. So what is the spiritual significance of that? Is one needs to be alert all the time. That is very, very important. Today only we were discussing in Srimad Bhagavatam in the morning that what makes somebody to commit an offense. It is said that committing offense to a devotee is very, very disastrous. So when Dhruva Maharaj's stepmother insulted Dhruva, saying that you don't deserve to sit on the lap of your father, you have to take a birth from my womb. Just because she offended it, her son Uttama was actually killed in the forest. And when she and while Lord giving Dhruva the darshan, that time Lord is making this prophecy. Can you imagine? Lord Narayan is making a prophecy to Dhruva, saying that the one who had offended you, actually these are the actual words of the Lord. One who has offended you, her son Uttam will go to the forest and will be killed by Yakshas. Okay, and because he did not return home, Suruchi will go in search of her own son in the forest, and she will die in the forest fire. Now, can you imagine? She'll be burnt alive in the forest fire. So, committing an offense to a devotee is very, very dangerous. And then Prabhupada in the purport writes that committing offense does not include only devotees. You should not insult anybody for that matter, because you do not know. Right? ऐसा देखने नहीं है, अच्छा ये सीखा है तो डिवोटी, ऐसा नहीं है. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि on the external dress one becomes a devotee, right? The amazing example again comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vritrasur, who was apparently a demon with the red copper hair, red short eyes. He was he was actually a demon, but he was a devotee. Prahlad Maharaj, the son of a Hiranyakashipu, is the biggest demon ever happened in the history, right? Any other example comes to your mind? Who is a Rakshasa but still a devotee? Kumbhakarna was a devotee. Who says that? Vibhishan. Vibhishan, exactly. Was another, right? So it is not just about your external dress, or it is not just about your kula, where you have born, you're a Brahmana or Kshatriya Vaishya. Not like that. Devotee could be anywhere. So one should not offend devotee. And how, what is the remedy, or how can you not make an offense? If you are alert. Because what is our problem? We are not alert and we just freely behave however we want to behave, and that is why we commit offenses. So that is why it is very, very important that we can learn from the fish that we have to be alert. Next question. Who does not move in spite being born? Born. Yeah. Okay. Sorry? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Any. सोचो. False ego. Okay. It is actually the egg. Egg takes the birth, right? Comes out, but does not move, even though it was already born in one sense, right? So that is called the one's latent potency. It's all about that. Further, Yudhishthira Maharaj asks, who does not have a heart? Huh? Butcher. That's a good one. Anybody on the Zoom as well? Who does not have a heart? Who is not a devotee, okay? Who is hard-hearted? He's somewhere close. Who does not have a heart? I'm giving you the hint. What Madhav Prem Prabhu said is a hint. Who does not have a heart? Okay. No, but who is that? It's is something in this material world. It is not the phenomena, not a person as such, but yeah. Okay, I'll give you the hint. It's not a human being. Chalo. Yes. And I'm giving you the hint, the most important hint, what he said. Who, so who does not have a heart? What is that thing? इसके अलावा क्या बोलते हैं हम लोग? हार्ड हार्टेड के अलावा क्या बोलते हैं हम लोग?
Stone.
Somebody said in the Zoom as well. Who was
Stone.
that? Exactly, stone. बोलते ना stone hearted है. That is what it is. So this is Maharaj answered. It's a stone. Now another very interesting thing. Yaksha asked, what is that grows only through movement? The most important question. Money. Good one. Anybody on the Zoom as well? What is that grows only through movement? Mind, okay? No. Knowledge. No. I'm again giving you the hint, okay? So this is actual thing that you see in this world. So it is not the concept, by the way. Okay, so I'm giving you the hint. Now imagine this kind of questions were happening with this Maharaj, okay? He's asking this. Exactly, river. River. River grows through the movement. अगर stop हो गया तो it will stop growing. So the most important thing, it is said that the one's compassion and action remain in motion to nurture the growth and the uplift others. So our compassion should also flow. Otherwise, what will happen? We will also, our growth will also become stagnant like a river. Next set of questions. Who is a friend of a traveler? This is an interesting one. Who is a friend of a traveler? Huh? The fellow traveler, the person whom you are traveling with, or somebody whom you met while traveling. Now think about this particular thing. How many of us travel? All of us travel. Now tell me honestly, in last 1 month or 1 year, how many fellow passenger that you have met, you have talked with that person in last 1 month or 1 year? 1 year will be very difficult. Let's talk about in 1 month if you have traveled. If you have a fellow passenger, let's say you travel by flight, somebody sitting next to you. You travel by train, somebody sitting next to you. Have you ever struck a conversation with that person? Huh? No, no, during travel also. You do? How many of you do? Okay, Vrishan Prabhu is doing. Okay, very good. When I travel, I have seen that there is hardly anybody talking next to the fellow passenger who is sitting. Very, very hardly. But I still remember when I was a kid and I traveling with my parents, right? I have seen my parents have made friends like anything during the travel only, and they kept connection even after the travel. And the amazing part is that person comes home also, and you're surprised. Wow, I said, oh, you remember we met और मेरे को यहाँ जाने का था, सोचा आपसे मिलता चलो. So what exactly friend does to you is somebody comforts you, right? Somebody whom you really need. Friend is a very important aspect of your life. Just go and ask people who do not have a friend. It's very difficult. If you have a friend now, you are the most fortunate person. Because if you don't have a friend, it becomes, in fact, later on it will come. Who is more happy? The people who have many friends. Like, because you have so many people to talk to, you'll be always like, happy fellow. Next, the most interesting one, okay, now. Who is a friend? If you want a lifeline, like, whatever the KBC and other things are there, you can call a friend if you really want to have an answer. This is the most difficult to answer, okay? Who is a friend at home? At home. Who said that? So, uh, it's easy to answer that way, right? But how many of us actually live by that, right? That do you really, really consider your spouse as a friend? और यू जस्ट कि ठीक है अभी भगवान ने क्या बना दिया ऊपर से मालूम नहीं अभी चलो साथ में रहना है निकाल देते हैं जिंदगी राइट एंड कई बार लाइक यू सीन द ओल्ड मूवीज जन्म जन्म का साथ है निभाना पड़ेगा अभी दैट इज आल्सो अनदर सेंटेंस व्हिच आई डिड नॉट लाइक व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय निभाना पड़ेगा यार यू विल बी हैप्पी स्टेइंग टुगेदर राइट निभाना मींस व्हाट दैट मींस यू हैव टू टॉलरेट इन वन सेंस राइट मेरे को ये व्यवहार निभाना पड़ेगा राइट So nibhana is not something this thing, right? कई बार people say like ये जन्म में तो मिले पर अगले जन्म में माफ कर देना भाई मेरे को. So why this is so important? Why not mother? Why not father is being called as a best friend? Why not your own brother or sister? Why wife or a spouse for that matter? Any thoughts? Okay, 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 very good. So basically, a very beautifully mentioned here, a wife is a pillar of a support, providing emotional warmth, love, and stability. A man may feel lost and disconnected, and this absence can lead to a lack of harmony in life, affecting both his inner peace and outward actions. So many times we take things for granted in terms of the relationship of each other. As I said, the familiarity breeds contempt. So actually देखा जाए तो you are the best friend of each other. But just because we take it for granted, we don't value each other. We don't respect each other. So it is very, very important that after this, even for me also, it was a eye opener that I know how much we should value our spouse, because they are the one who is going to make our emotional stability. And I have seen people who do not have a stable grahastha ashram or not a stable married life, they are neither peaceful inward and nor happy outward also. But somebody who having a happy marriage life, they are comparatively much better than a person who do not have. So that is why it is very, very, and in future question and answer also it will come that what you have gained by the will of the providence. So actually one who gets the wife is by the will of the providence. जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि the marriage is made in heaven. After that somebody writes, but we don't live in heaven. That's another thing. Right? But still, right, the divinity is involved in your having your partner. That is why sometimes we go to the astrologer also, right, and ask like, ये शादी क्यों नहीं हो रहा है भाई? कितने सारे divorce cases also go to the astrologer कि क्या चल रहा है, right? So there are a lot of other factors are also involved in your marriage life. So how you tackle that, that is also important. It is not just about taking the help from the astrologer. You also have to make an endeavor. It is not just by like chanting some mantra and other things. Of course, that will help. But if you don't make an endeavor to improve in your relationship, it is not going to happen. Right? Now the doctor gives the medicine. So astrology is as good as a science. Right? Doctor gives the medicine, it works. Astrologer gives you the advice, it works. Right? But at the same time, if those diets that doctor has given you, right? You fever typhoid, टाइफाइड का मेडिसिन लिया आपने और साथ में समोसा भी खा लिया, तो वो मेडिसिन का असर नहीं होगा. सिमिलरली एस्ट्रोलॉजर ने आपको कुछ रेमेडी दिया, आपने वो किया, पर साथ साथ में आप अपना बिहेवियर खुद से चेंज नहीं करो, यू आर नॉट बीइंग अटेंटिव टू योर like बिहेवियर, then it is not going to work for you. Okay, so that is something very, very important. Now the next thing, who is the most easy one? Who is a friend for diseased? Doctor. Okay. Now, why doctor is a friend for the disease? Huh? He knows the cure. Okay. What else? He's a professional. Okay. Is just अभी सोचो कि कल AI भी एक डॉक्टर बन सकता है, right? There's a lot of things happening. So what is the AI being a doctor and you're going to the actual doctor? Will there be any difference? What is that difference?
Emotional and physical, emotional and physical kind of interaction which you have, because the way we interact with a doctor, many of the problems get solved by listening.
So in that sense, doctor is your friend. Vaidya is not just one who gives you only the medicine. The Vaidya is the one who gives you the hope that you will be all right. That is why if you see some doctors who cannot talk to you nicely, na, you feel यार ठीक है, भले कैसा भी है, मेरे को नहीं जाने का उसके पास. And somebody who can like comfort you, can talk to you nicely and explain you what it is, you really feel कि हाँ मैं ठीक हो जाऊंगा. And many times it is said that if you are positive about getting cured, that works much better than the medicine itself. So doctor is the one who gives you that hope. Vaidya is the one who gives you that hope. So it is not just, oh, because I am a disease, I go to the doctor and doctor helps me, that means he's a friend. No. A doctor who actually helps you to get that hope is actually your true friend. Who? Now, this is going to be the most difficult one. If somebody can guess, this will be really nice. Who is a friend for somebody who is dying? Anybody on the Zoom as well? Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Can you imagine? Nobody can even think that particular clue. That if somebody is dying, what could be the friend for that person? The charity is a friend for that person. Why now? Let's discuss that.
Because he's leaving, so his attachments are already, he has detached himself from his belongings.
Okay.
It will help him the onward journey.
Okay. So one is detachment. What else? Pious credits. Okay. Okay. What else? Okay. So this is most important thing, right? So when a person is dying and when he does that act of charity, right? He gets that satisfaction, and the person, so is basically he is getting benefited emotionally, as he also rightly said that, like, now he is giving without any expect. अभी उसको मालूम नहीं है वो किधर जाने वाला है. So he's giving in one sense without any expectations as such, right? So that charity is going to help him a lot. And the second thing, one who is going to receive it is also getting benefited, right? So it's a win-win situation. But the most important thing is he will be remembered in good books. Because ऐसा कहा जाता है कि when a person is living ना, if people go on cursing that person, अरे अच्छा वो चला गया यार, क्या आदमी था. Rather than that, if he's going, he says like, he was such a nice person. Look what he did even while dying also. So he will be remembered with good thoughts. So that will help him in his onward journey. Okay. Now, next set of questions. Who travels alone? अकेला कौन ट्रैवल करता है? Soul, okay. हाँ? मन, okay. Who travels alone? सुबह सुबह क्या देखते हैं हम? Sun. Sun travels alone. Now, what is the difference between alone and lonely? What is the difference?
Alone is stronger, loneliness is weakness from inside.
Wow, perfect. What a fantastic answer, right? This is what exactly the thing is. When you are lonely, you are fearful. You are alone, you are by your choice and for your conviction, and you are courageous to be alone. But when you're lonely, you are actually fearful, right? Next question. This is probably you'll be able to guess. No, probably not. Let's see. Who is born again and again? Desire, okay.
Soul never dies.
But here somebody who born again and again. Now imagine this again, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, like thirsty, seeing his whole four brothers dead, and somebody is asking this kind of questions, and he's answering. You know, I think this could be the best, like Kaun Banega Karodpati Ka show, the one of the best show ever. So who is that who is born again and again? But it doesn't. In fact, somewhere I heard the desire never dies. The hint is in your previous question. I mean, it's answer to the previous question. Yeah, waning and waxing, right? Moon, like dies and comes again, dies and comes again. So, does anybody remember the story why this phenomenon is happening? Why moon is waning and waxing? So once Chandra was offered the 27 daughters of Daksha, not Yaksha, Daksha Prajapati. He had 27 daughters. Those 27 daughters he gave in marriage to Chandra. But he did one condition. He said, you have to treat each of my daughters equally. He said, yes. But who takes father-in-law so seriously nowadays? Right? So as Chandra also did not take Daksha so seriously. So he loved Rohini. So when you actually being asked who is the wife of Chandra, what comes the name is Rohini. Right? So Rohini is the one who is the wife of Chandra. Right? But actually he had another 26 wives whom he was not giving attention. And all these 26 daughters of Daksha went to Daksha and saying this guy is not giving us the attention and not giving us the time. He is only giving time and attention to this Rohini alone. So Daksha gave him the warning, सुधर जाओ नहीं तो हालत खराब हो जाएगा तुम्हारा. बोलते हैं ठीक है. Then they thought, who cares? So then finally Daksha said enough is enough. He said, now you are proud of your tej. You're proud of your effulgence, right? I curse you that day by day your effulgence will diminish. And Chandra got really scared. Not Chandra, but rest of the universe also got very scared. Why? Does anybody know? Why rest of the universe also gets scared? Because Chandra losing his effulgence, his तेज अगर जो lose हो गया तो उससे क्या होगा universe में? All the vegetables they get their nourishment is from the rays, moon rays only. So everybody went to Chandra, कुछ करो तुम्हारा तो जो होगा होगा पर हमारा क्या होगा? So then moon started doing the tapasya to Shankar, Lord Shankar. And when he did that tapasya, Lord Shiva got pleased and he said, I cannot go against the curse of Daksha. But what I will do, what I'll say is, when you actually become completely vain, then by my blessings, you will start waxing again. So that is what is happening. And finally, Lord Shiva also hold the Chandra on his head, and that's why we call him Chandra Boleshwar. And so it's a wonderful thing of Chandra. So that is the next answer. Now, what is the medicine for cold or the snow? Yeah, fire. Exactly. So here the author writes one interesting thing, It is also the inner spiritual force that dissolves the ignorance, like fire, right? And kindling the clarity and illumination within the soul. So that's why this answer had a spiritual significance as well. So as fire dissolves the cold or the snow, right? Similarly, it removes the ignorance as well. That's the whole purpose of it. What is the container that holds everything? What is that container that holds everything? Very simple. Huh? Earth. It holds everything, right? It's very wonderful. Now we'll fast forward to some more questions. Okay. Now this is going to be the most. Okay. Yeah, उसके पहले एक और है. Yeah, okay. Two more we have before that. Yeah, okay. So next set of questions is, who is Atma for the man? And okay, let's talk about it. Who is the Atma for the man? The son is the Atma for the man. As they say that the father lives through the son. Now this is what I was talking about. Whom did God ordain man as a friend? Who did God ordained man as a friend? Going back to the same thing, wife. So भगवान ने ordain किया है that the wife is your friend. इसके लिए ना, my humble request to all of us that please, many times people just talk about India and saying treatment of the woman and equal rights and all those things. It's absolutely ridiculous. The kind of सम्मान that the women gets in India, nowhere else. भारतवर्ष के बाहर जितना women को भारतवर्ष में respect मिलता है, उतना और कोई जगह पे नहीं मिलता है, और कोई जगह पे नहीं मिलता है. In fact, Europe was considering that women do not have a soul. That's what they were believing in. They were treating them like slaves. It was such a ridiculous thing. And those English gentlemen with a three-piece suit have a this thing to come and comment on India. India has the highest respect for the woman. And sometimes even again, as we are talking about astrology also earlier, right? It is said अगर आप में किसी भी फैमिली में अगर वुमेन को बराबर से ट्रीट नहीं किया है, तो उसका जो दोष लगता है ना, वो पूरे नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को पूरा हालत खराब कर देता है. It it is so disastrous. So can you imagine how important it is to respect a woman in the home? Very, very important. And we just completely sometimes take things for granted, right? Next question. This is also a very practical question and a practical answer. What is the main sadhan or the resource for life? What is the main source of life? Oxygen, okay. Water, okay. Air, sunlight, money. That's a good one. But Yudhishthir Maharaj answered as rain cloud, right? So water is correct. But then your water resource can be exhausted. So what is the most important is rain. Today also we are seeing everyone is scared. There are government is requesting everybody that use less water in your washing machine, try to do the bucket bath rather than a shower and all those things. How much you can save water, because we do not have that drinking or the usable water available. If this continues for some more long time, it will be a disaster. Can you imagine? So see how practical answer this Maharaj is giving, right? Then again, how does a man achieve his destination? By charity. So if you see, there are out of 120 questions, I would say there are more than 6 to 7 questions where answer is related to the charity. Why charity is most important? Huh?
Beyond yourself.
You move beyond yourself. That's a good one. What else?
Serving the society, serving the God.
Serving the society, serving the God. Okay.
By serving others, we get another type of happiness. Doing something for yourself, making somebody else happy gives you more satisfaction.
Making someone else happy gives you more satisfaction. Okay. What else?
It's more easily to the detachment.
More easily for the detachment. Okay. Now, for giving charity, do you have to be rich? Why? Because charity requires to give. Na? How can you give a charity if you are not rich? Very good. So charity is not just about the money part, even the charity of the knowledge also. Later on, like it comes, one of the question was being asked, how one can become famous? Through charity. Even Karna had a different negative angle, right? But still there are so many people remember as him and with Karna. So charity makes one really famous. Can you imagine, like, he was asked, one of the question was asked to Yudhishthir Maharaj, how one can become famous? He's saying by charity. So very beautifully, it was explained in this book that even if you have a less, does not mean that you cannot give charity. Even from the money perspective, even if you have less, if you give something, because if you have not started giving, then when you have the resources, you will not be able to give also. So it's a misconception that I need to have a lot of money in order to give the charity. It's not about that. If you have a 10 rupiah, give it charana. Doesn't matter. But if you give that, that habit will help you. Otherwise, you become so much I, मेरे लिए क्या है, मेरे लिए क्या है. You have to learn to be selfless. That is where you will experience the real thing. That's why this charity is very, very important. The next one. What is the greatest sadhan, the resource? Courage is the greatest sadhan. If you have the courage, you can gain anything, right? Then it is asked, what is the greatest wealth? What is the greatest wealth? The most important one. Oh,
Blessings.
blessings. Okay. Somebody said blessings in the Zoom. Knowledge, yes. Yudhishthir Maharaj answered, knowledge is the greatest wealth. Realize, but knowledge, if you have the knowledge, that's the most important thing. Abhi ab dekho, what has become the today's education and everything is all about money, 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 right? But if somebody learns from the Shastra, then he will be the most wealthiest person. Why? Because he understands ज्ञान होगा तो अर्थ ऑटोमेटिकली फॉलो करेगा. इफ यू जस्ट गो आफ्टर द अर्थ, ज्ञान नहीं आने वाला है. इफ यू हैव द नॉलेज, द मनी विल फॉलो. अभी उल्टा हो रहा है. मनी किधर है, मनी किधर है? यू नो दैट्स व्हाई अभी इज गोइंग टू बी अ डिजास्टर probably. Everyone has taken up which particular branch of engineering? Which branch of engineering?
IT.
IT. Exactly, computer science. Why? Why IT? It's not that because they love IT, right? They have taken because there's the money, right? If I do the chemical engineering, पता नहीं job मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा. If I do the mechanical engineering, पता नहीं क्या होगा. All the engineering there, you are not finding anything. IT is the only one which is recruiting. अभी IT वाले का क्या होगा? सबसे बड़ा question हो गया कि coding is not required, right? If I have a AI is coming into the play, then we will not require coders. What will happen to us? So there is a lot of discussions going on that what will happen to all these pass outs who are going to come out in another 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. What will happen to them? So now they have to start thinking which is the next branch that I have to look forward for. So they said engineering in AI probably that is where they will go and other things, right? So what we are doing, we are not going after the knowledge, we are going after the money. That is the biggest problem. If you have the knowledge, I have seen Churchgate station ke bahar, one who had the knowledge how to make the tasty samosa, he has 3-4 bungalows in Mumbai only. Is करोड़पति. सूरत में भी close हो गया कोई. अच्छा.
Three floor
Bungalow. Wow.
outside he is sitting over.
And sometimes these big engineers are wondering, what am I doing? So you have to have a knowledge. If you have a knowledge to make something nice, it will be fantastic. The earth will follow you. But we are actually going against the Shastra. We are not understanding it because we are not reading the Shastra only. Right? Then it is said, which is the best prophet? Which is the best prophet? Health is the best prophet. What a beautiful answers that Yudhishthira Maharaj is giving. It's so wonderful. Right? And now this is the most important. What is the best sukha? Happiness. What is the best happiness? Family. Okay.
Who doesn't have your
One who doesn't have a loan. Okay. Yeah. So here the question, whatever you answer will come later. He's saying, which is the best sukha? The best sukha or the best happiness is satisfaction. Why satisfaction is the best happiness?
That is the place where it starts. Whatever we are looking for, whatever we are doing, the
if he
desire.
is not satisfied, he will have more and more desire. And following those desires, he will never be satisfied.
Exactly. So the same incident happened in the case of Vamanadev and Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, who is Bali Maharaj? Bali Maharaj is not like Elon Musk or somebody, right? Who is the richest person of the earth? No. He was the proprietor of all the three lokas. He has conquered all the three lokas, not just Bhuloka. All the three lokas he has conquered. And he was doing a yagya. And he was famous for charity also. Vamanadev goes and asks for charity. You know what did Vamanadev say? He was such a dwarf. He said, just give me 3 steps. So Bali Maharaj started laughing, saying that you could have asked something more here. Anyways, you are short in height. How much land you are going to cover in 3 steps? That's where this famous dialogue or the famous sloka of Srimad Bhagavatam comes. If one who is not satisfied with what he or she has, he or she will not be satisfied even if that person gets all the riches of this world. अगर आप अभी सुखी नहीं है, आपके पास जो है उसमें अगर आपको पूरी दुनिया का धन मिल जाएगा तो भी आप सुखी नहीं होंगे. What a beautiful thing. So we have to learn to be satisfied. That doesn't mean that you कल से नौकरी जाना बंद and then wondering कि बाबा क्या चल रहा है. It is something that you have to work on, right? Of how I can be satisfied and not going after the wrong means, right? अभी क्या हो रहा है? Everyone is trying to go to the share market and make a smart money and all this fast money and all those things. That is not going to help you. You have to. That doesn't mean that the people who are working in the share market is wrong. They are working with the proper analysis and everything and putting their hard efforts into it. That is what is required. It's not just आज ऐसे ही हम बकवास चाहिए चल रहा है चलो इसमें डाल दो पैसे ये चल रहा है उसमें डाल. That is gambling. But if you are doing the proper analysis and working that way, that is absolutely fine. Right? Now coming to the most important set of questions, and then the last thing we will just take quickly. What one has to give up? Now hear this very carefully now, okay? What one has to give up to become dear to others? Everyone is rapid fire. Anger, ego, envy. Any other things? What one has to give up to become dearer to others? Expectations, greed, jealousy. Forgiveness, okay? No, forgiveness one has to give up. Forgiveness practice करना है. ये पूछ रहे क्या छोड़ना है हमें? क्या छोड़ोगे आप तो आप सबके प्रिय हो जाओगे? हाँ? अपेक्षा. False ego. So somebody said ego, right? So that's the answer. False ego. That's what comes in between people, right? If you just give that up, you'll become dearer to everybody. It is said, Yudhishthir Maharaj का दूसरा नाम क्या था मालूम है? अजात शत्रु. What does it mean? अजात शत्रु में जिसका एनिमी ही बॉर्न नहीं हुआ है. That means he himself वो सबसे प्रिय थे. क्यों? So what question का आंसर जो दे रहे हैं ना वो एक्चुअली वेरी प्रैक्टिकल दे रहे हैं. अब ऐसा थियोरेटिकल आंसर नहीं दे रहे हैं वो. जो खुद प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं ना वो वाला आंसर दे रहे हैं. What one has to give up to be freed from pain and misery? Attachment. Huh? Body. I was very confident that the kind of questions we have, the answers going to come is going to be very hilarious. And the fun time we're going to have. न रहेगा बात न बचेगी बांसुरी. That is one of the reasons that people become impersonalists, by the way. So what? हमको क्या छोड़ना पड़ेगा या क्या छोड़ोगे जिसकी वजह से हम दुख और दर्द से मुक्त हो जाएंगे? आशा. Anger. Yudhishthira Maharaj gives anger as that. Right? Because the anger not only fuels suffering but also disturbs inner peace and strains relationship. We can just look back, right? जब भी हम लोग angry होते हैं, like, it just destroys everything. And it brings lot of pain afterwards. Right? Moving forward, what one has to give up to become wealthy? Huh? इसका आंसर, when I heard it, I was also shocked. What one has to give up to become wealthy? He is saying laziness. Anyone else? Zoom पे भी बता सकते हैं आप अगर किसी को, anybody is remembering anything. हाँ? Greed, okay. Honesty, okay. हमको क्या छोड़ना है जिससे हम वेल्दी बन जाएंगे, सुख संपत्ति वाले बन जाएंगे, संपत्ति वाले बन जाएंगे? Attachment, okay. Here Yudhishthira Maharaj said desires. I was shocked. I said that's quite interesting. How can you become wealthy by giving up the desire? Now think about it. It's a very fascinating concept.
We give up desire, automatically satisfaction, and now realization and satisfied.
Right? And even if you logically think, right, who is wealthy?
Which desires which are not fulfilled.
Who is?
Which desires which are not fulfilled.
Okay, least desires was not fulfilled. Okay. If you see, wealthy is the person who have given up the desire. That person is a wealthy, right? अगर आपको desire है कि मेरे को wealthy बनना है, अभी if you see Elon Musk, right, for an example, he still has a desire to get more money, yes or no, right? That means he's still not wealthy because he has the desire that I want to be. He is not able to experience that thing what he has. He has more and more desire to become more and more, like, having more and more. So that is quite interesting, right? He says he highlights the genuine ambition arises from satisfaction, as Govindra Prabhu said, right? As it fosters the purposeful and meaningful goals rather than being fueled by endless desire. So once you give desire, you actually look for the most purposeful thing. I still remember Arvind Mafatlal, right? At once upon a time, he was like, quite wealthy in the list of the top 10 richest people of India, you know. But when he got his spiritual quest, he got into a different league only. What he did, even if you go to today in Chitrakoot and look at that hospital, is just unbelievable. The kind of people that he serves freely and everything over there is fantastic. So he actually gave up the desire to I have to have more and more, and he actually became wealthy at that point in time. Even though the leads, the Times Group or other thing is mentioning as a different thing, he may have actually come out of the list of wealthiest person, but for him, he became wealthy then because he was able to have a purpose for what he has earned for. You're getting the point. So wealthy is also a kind of a phenomena that you have to experience. Yeah, exactly. He's also lot of things, right? And what one has to give up to be happy. You already answered some of these things earlier. So that is greed. One has to become, if one wants to become happy, you give up greed, you automatically will become happy, right? If you're greedy, ज़्यादा चीज और चाहिए तो कैसे happy हो सकते? Possible ही नहीं, right? It's beautifully answered. So now we will directly jump to the last set of questions that Yudhishthir Maharaj asked, and those were the most beautiful one and most amazing one. So we'll just spend 5 minutes there, and we'll conclude today. Okay. So the first question asked is, who is truly happy? Now that is where what Vedmurti Prabhu asked. Who is truly happy?
One gets food in the hot
Through microwave?
Three things that
walk to work, walk to work. Walk to work.
Walk to work. Okay. Yeah. So those are the three things, right? One, who does not have any debt, जिसको कोई उधारी नहीं है. Second, he gets the home cooked food. आप लोग बोले कि पागल हो गए क्या? रेस्टोरेंट में जाने का क्या मजा है? आप क्या बोल रहे हो? घर का खाना है. युधिष्ठिर महाराज वो जमाने में ठीक, ये जमाने में कैसे रेलेवेंट है? बताओ मुझे. How many of you have eaten more than a month outside food continuously? More than a week, anybody? Month may not be. More than a week, anybody has eaten outside? While eating outside, were you missing anything? इसके लिए होटल वाले भी कभी कभी लिखते हैं घर जैसा खाना मिलेगा. There is no sukh than घर का खाना. That's the most important thing. And that, अभी आप सोचो, I think last week only I was discussing with one of my colleague on the lunch that now this concept of debt is so crazy, and we were thinking, because now that lot of tension is happening because of the AI and other things, people feel that they're going to lose their jobs, specifically in the IT sector and things like that. Oracle laid off 30,000 people, SAP had laid off quite a number of people, and a lot of layoff, the the rumors as well as the truth is going around, right? So we were just discussing that if somebody has taken a loan or house loan or any of that sort, right? And he is already 45 or something. So if somebody is at the age of 30, that person still has that thing, chalo bhai theek hai, right? Chalega. But somebody at the age of 45, he has that EMI. And if he loses the job, can you imagine the stress level of that person? It'll be a disaster. It'll be absolute disaster. So that is why गुजराती में अच्छा कहावत है, बोलते हैं कि जितनी चद्दर है उतना ही पैर फैलाना है, राइट? उससे ज्यादा करने का ही नहीं है. Don't go beyond that. But now, what is the concept happening? And we will discuss further that we are still the luckiest generation who still had the concept of savings. Now, the next generation, huh? What do you call it? Gen Z, right? Do they have the concept of savings? Not at all. Why? Because they see media like anything. We were also watching media, but we luckily we did not have so much of that mobile, and that time those no OTT platforms and other things. So we were able to survive. Now here they're completely influenced by the Western concept where there is no question of having savings. What does they call it? You live only once. Something that short form is there, no? What is that? You know, or something like you live only once. तो डेट के साथ मर गया तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Let that person figure it out. In US, actually, to fill one debt, you get another credit card. To fill that, you get third credit card and fourth credit card, and finally, it just becomes a disaster. Now, imagine that these people who do not have the concept, and we were discussing that, okay, we are now 51. If somebody is at 45 or at that age, if somebody loses the job, still that person will be able to survive in a dignified way. Why? Because that person will have a reasonable saving to go through that rest of the life. But imagine the next generations, Alpha and Gen Z, like, what will happen to them? At the age of 40, and believe me, our parents did not even crave to become retired at the age of 50. My generation is definitely craving to retire at 50, 55. बहुत हो गया भाई, अभी इससे ज्यादा नहीं कर सकते. I am sure next generation is thinking कि भाई 40 ही बहुत है, 40, 45 is enough to retire. अभी कैसे रिटायर होगे भाई आप? You have no concept of savings, and if in that the job goes, and it is said that once you're growing old, it's difficult to find jobs. For a young person, it is easy. So you are going against your culture. That is causing a lot of trouble. I would say if somebody reads this small book now of Yaksha Prashna and understand what it is, his life will be perfect. Lot of guiha secrets are given in this, right? How one can make their life perfect so easily. And so beautiful concept, right? One should not have a debt. That itself says that you better have enough savings and other things on top of that. Have a home food so you will not fall sick. If you have a regular home food, I see people, I feel sorry sometimes, people go and like, afternoon, unfortunately, they eat from the canteen and other stuff for whatever reason. I don't know, but like, this home cooked food is so important, right? And the most another thing that he said is one should be able to come back home. It's not just having a work and the home nearby. That's not the thing. You should come back home by the sixth prahar. What is the sixth prahar means? According to that, ideally you should be back home by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Because if you see in those days, when sunset happens, even today, some villages, if you go, by 8 o'clock तो सन्नाटा छा जाता है गांव में. And for them,
Even foreign countries also they close by 6:30.
हाँ, पूरा सन्नाटा, and they are naturally up at 5 o'clock. Naturally, 4:35 they are up. अलार्म भी नहीं लगाना पड़ता है उन लोग को. हाँ. And you all know, right? The one who sleeps early gets up early, healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? It's very, very important. Nowadays, what is happening? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It just whole cycle has gone in, and then they feel, oh no, we are the most advanced people. Arey, how can you go against the biological nature, yaar? Just because you have fun and everything, you want to go against the biological nature, and then there are so many problems people are getting because they are not sleeping at a regular time. They're sleeping so late. Then this is the most important question. But this is definitely the most important question, and as the answer was also the most amazing answer that um, Yudhishthir Maharaj gives the Dharmaraj. What, sorry, what is the biggest surprise or what is the most astonishing thing in this world?
Everyone is dying in this world, but still, everyone thinks that I'm not going to die.
Right? That is the most astonishing. It's not Niagara Fall, it's not the Leaning Pizza Tower or whatever, right? It is not Taj Mahal. What is the most amazing thing in this world is one sees the other person dying, but he or she thinks it's not going to happen to me, right? And then the last one, it is said, what is considered as news? And it says, news is that which informs us about the transient or the impermanent nature of the world, especially the inevitable changes and the fact that everyone must eventually face death. That's the news. Tell me how many news you have gone through in this journey of your life. Is any of the news really matter to you? Practically not. Maybe for some time, little bit here and there. But this particular news is going to matter to all of us. That the nature of this world is very transient. What should I be doing? That is the most important thing, right? So those are the wonderful questions. And after this question and answers happened, immediately before drinking the water, you know what Yudhishthira Maharaj asked? Where is so Yaksha asked Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, okay, what benedictions you want, right? Because I'm very happy with your answers. So Yudhishthira Maharaj did not say first के पहले मेरे को पानी पीने दो, right? You know what did he say? Can I have that wood which I was searching for? That deer which took away that early wood which that Brahmana is waiting for. So just imagine, despite all this ordeal that happened with Yudhishthira Maharaj, he did not forget that I had promised somebody that I will get you back your early wood. So one of the blessings he asked that can I have that early wood? And Yamaraj reveals to him that I was that deer. I became the deer to delude everybody, and I wanted to have an audience with you. That's why I did this. So he said, here you go. This is the early wood that you can give. Right? And after that, he says that I will give you a benediction to bring up the one of your brothers alive. Now select who will you want. Now, can you imagine trauma ke after trauma de rahe hain? So, without any hesitation, he says Nakula. So Yamraj also got bewildered. Said, how is that? You don't want Bhima, you don't want Arjun. Who can help you, run your kingdom? They are the most powerful people. He said, no. So one of the question was asked to Yudhishthira Maharaj earlier that how one should behave in this world, right? So he answered that one should see everyone equally. That is what he showed by. So whatever he answered was not theoretical, what he was practicing. So he again Yamraj asked, why did you choose for Nakul? He said, see, we are the brothers of two mothers, Madri and Kunti. So I am alive from Kunti. So better there has to be a equal distribution. There has to be one son of Madri should be alive. Then I asked for Nakul, and having that answer, he says, okay, you have all your brothers. So everyone comes to the line. And then he says, okay, well, ask any other benedictions. So he said, we are going to have the Agyatavas, so we should not be identified while we are in the Agyatavas. So just see, because you have led your life with dignity, you have led your life with character, you will have the blessings. Please remember, that is the essence or the moral of this whole episode. If you lead your life in the provoking, Prabhupada was asked, how do you estimate the greatness of a person? The greatness of a person is estimated how he or she tolerates the provoking situations. This is the most provoking situations. right? They would have said, boss, nothing doing, let me have the water. My brothers are dead. What you are keep on asking the questions? Band karo ye tamasha. Right? He would have lost his temper. But no, he was patiently answering everything because he is the man of characters. In any situation, he will not compromise his values. So if we have that, we will have the blessings of the Lord. Please be assured. But if you try to cut corners and have shortcuts, we will go away from the blessings and we will incur curses. Temporary inconvenience for permanent convenience. Don't try to get temporary convenience and get permanent inconvenience. So that is the most important thing. So thank you all very much for your patient hearing. And if there are any questions or others, we will take it up during the Prashadam time. It's quite late, but I wanted to complete this so that next week onwards we can start having our Bhagavad Gita continuation. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any announcements? Others will have the Prashadam prayers. Okay, so I'll just